Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. Hope you are doing well. I am a few minutes early. Thought I'd go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Tuesday morning live Q&A and combat swimmer stroke critique show. We are going to be discussing, while people congregate here, about day 2 of Hellweek. It is now day 2 of Hellweek. Students have gone through Sunday night without sleep and Monday night without sleep, and they're just constantly moving. I came up with this clever acronym where it is F.I.N.I.S.H, F-I-N-I-S-H. And using this acronym, think about this when you are preparing for these type of challenges. Okay, so F, focus, one thing at a time. So what you have to do is just be laser focused on what your main goal is in life, whatever that is. You can have some distractions, but you don't want to have big distractions that are taking you away from your main goal. Now, there are some healthy distractions like socializing, relaxing, those type of things, but you really need to be laser tight focused in your preparation for these type of tough challenges. Identify. I is identify. This is really more important towards identifying strengths and weaknesses because you have them. And if you don't think you do, you're probably not mature enough for this journey anyway. But if you have spent some time focusing on a weakness, turning it into less of a weakness, more of a strength, you got yourself a finely tuned machine that's good at everything. And if you're doing these type of spec ops challenges, you need to be good at everything. Don't need to be great at everything, just good at everything. You find great at everything is really tough, but you have to be good at strength and power, speed and agility, endurance, muscle, stamina, run, ruck, swim events, flexibility, mobility, and grip. All of those are what makes the tactical athlete. And if you've had some athletic experience, you're probably really good or great at some of them. But usually when you're great at something, you've neglected an opposite element of fitness. Then once you've identified these weaknesses, you made them a little more of a strength, you start focusing on the events that are going to be specific for your training. N is kind of a no-brainer, is never quit. Just you can't even think about quitting. My recommendation is to get in a mindset of winning events, and you can find yourself in a position to never even consider quitting. Because I promise you, if you think about winning, whether that's individual events or as a team event, and you're really focused on winning, you'll never think about quitting. Even if you don't win, let's say you come in second, big deal. You're not last. And it does pay to be a winner, but it does not pay to be last. That is the group or person that you are glad you're not when you're in these type of training programs. The other I is intensity. Not unlike focus, you really need to be intense with your training. That not only means effort level whenever you are training, you need to be hitting certain paces. There is a level of running that is a good base, but there's also a level of speed that you need to work a little harder to get to be competitive, which requires an increase of intensity. And that's same for swimming and rucking and reps. All require a little bit higher intensity compared to your average workout or your average even strength training program. right? These aren't normal strength training programs when you're adding in, weights, and then you got to go ruck and swim. Not your normal strength program. Very similar to what this is. This is a strength program, but it is also geared towards maintaining calisthenics, muscle stamina, and maintaining some cardio. And even getting pretty good at cardio, because it's not long cardio, it's just short and fast. So the intensity of that cardio is increased. S is self-discipline. Once again, goes without saying, you creating the ability to do things when you don't feel like it is really what self-discipline is. You're doing the right things. You're disciplined with your sleep. You're disciplined with your food. You're disciplined with your going out and socializing. I know you're young and it's fun to go out and have fun, but you got to be disciplined, because if you go out too hard, you're not really recovering that night, and you've kind of going to need a couple of days just to kind of catch up to that night out. So you have to be disciplined. Last one, the H is habits. Your good habits have to eventually take over all of your old bad habits. And that is when you're going to see the journey from being really motivated to go do this evolve into creating good habits, taking out bad habits, and then those good habits, soon it evolves into discipline. And now you're a self-disciplined person, and you're starting to add in a mental toughness component to that discipline by working out when you don't feel like it, by getting comfortable when you're uncomfortable. Those are the type of things that it takes to finish. And that is my handy acronym of the day that I thought I would share. So with that, let's take some questions. I'm going to pull up some videos here that I had downloaded, and we can discuss some of these videos. But what class number is going through? I think it's 358. Almost 100% sure it's 358. Could I be wrong? Yes, but I'm pretty sure it's 358. Check the weather in Coronado, and it is not warm. That's a good question. Let me see. Let's see. Weather, Coronado. Never really thought about this one, but it's 49 degrees right now, which isn't horrible. But last night, the low was 41. I will tell you this, though. When it's this cold, it's usually windy on the coast. So that wind whips in there and you're wet. Doesn't matter how cold it is, really, as you're cold. But on this one, the water temperature is probably around 55 degrees. So the water temperature is warmer than the air temperature, which is interesting, because that's a cold hell week when that happens. All right, let's see what Seth says. I have your old tactical fitness periodization books, fall, winter, spring, summer. Those aren't that old. I did those in 2020. What are we looking, 3 years ago? Come on, man. Not that old. I've ran through most of the workouts in the book, and I can't lie, they are very long. Yes, they are very long. There's no 30-minute gym workout that will prepare you for a Spec Ops day. Remember that. Do you think that if I shorted the workouts but kept the mileage the same, would I be prepared for buds? Yes, possible. I mean, you don't need super long workouts to prepare for buds. What you need to do is just be on your feet all day doing something. So your days should be long, because buds is a grind. That's the hardest part. It's not necessarily you're working out 20 hours a day. You may do 4 events in a day that get you tired. You might do a log PT, you may go for a run, might do a group PT, might do the O course, You might go for some swim skills and start your drown proofing tests and all that stuff. So the days are long, but there's a lot of time in between where you're just going from A to B on your feet all day. And there's no rest time. There's no nap time, right? There's no real sitting down for very long. That's the grind of buds. It's not working out for 10 hours, but they are long workouts. And I do recommend being able to handle 2 to 3 hours worth of physical activity. And you can spread that out in the day as you like, but there's a reason why those workouts are long. Is that, everybody that did them that year, has gone on and done really well at these trainings. So, and they might have even added a couple of extra things on their own. Curious about Bud's prep. I'm in DEP and did my first PST yesterday, which I crushed. Good. That's the way it should be. Recruiter says that I'll get a SEAL contract and I'm stressed out about getting out of shape at boot camp. That happens. You just need to work out extra at boot camp. My advice is to go into boot camp really tired. Like not injury burned out, but burned out physically. Then you're going to go to boot camp and treat boot camp like a taper and focus on not getting sick. Try to maintain your push-ups, your sit-ups, your lunges, your squats, because there'll be opportunities to do that. And you might even find a place to do pull-ups. You're not going to run that much, but whenever you do get the opportunity to run, take it. You're not going to be able to stay in great shape, but if you use it as a taper and then you go into prep, you can get back up to where you were when you're going through prep. So my goal for people going to boot camp is go in tired, do not get sick. I mean, literally wash your hands all the time. Don't touch your face. And this is just regular cold stuff. COVID going through was a pain in the ass too, but I'm just talking about don't get sick, period, which is a huge challenge because everybody's coughing and sneezing around you. If you can just keep your hands clean and don't touch your face and constantly wash your hands, you might not get sick. Maybe inevitable. I'm not sure. But that is what I would do. Good morning, Stu. Working toward advanced movements like one-arm pull-ups and push-ups to make standard ones even easier. Okay. How many days a week would you include conditioning days to maintain endurance? Every day. I don't really do one-arm pull-ups or one-arm push-ups. Never done them. Don't know if you need them. Hey, you knock yourself out. I'm not sure that's even a necessity. But yeah, you should be doing something every day with conditioning. Whether you don't have to run every day, but you should be swimming on the days you're not running or biking when you're not swimming. I would do cardio 6 days a week if you're trying to maintain endurance or also get better. Is it accurate? Hellweek includes approximately 225 miles of running, 60 miles of paddling, 30 miles of swimming, and all the push-ups, load crawling, 2 miles. That's 45 miles of running per day. I don't think so. That's way too much running. You're doing more paddling, I think. I mean, you are running a lot with a boat on your head, going from A to B. But personally, I think that is a major exaggeration, to be honest. You're definitely not swimming 30 miles at all. I think every one of those are probably ×4 exaggerated. And there's no way you do that much swimming. You might do one swim in Hellweek. I don't even remember. I mean, you're going to get wet in Hellweek, but you're not swimming. A couple of days into Hellweek, they can't really do a lot of dangerous things with you because you're walking around like a zombie. So yeah, that's not true. Do you recommend using a row machine prepping for boats at buds? How would you put it in the training? Yeah, you can add it. I never did. Not saying that you need to, not saying that you can't. There's a lot of rowers that do real well at buds, but I don't think it's because they were rowers. You just do it. I mean, if I was going to do a rowing machine, I would do it on a pull day, or you could do it on a leg day, I guess. But the rowing's a little bit different. You're not really able to use your legs to row. You're actually reaching out in front of you and pulling like this. You're not using your legs to get the momentum of the row. So it's a really completely different row. I mean, my advice would be get a canoe, sit in a canoe and row like that, or a kayak. That's more similar to the rowing that you're going to do. How do the PST scores you recommend differ from officer and enlisted candidates? I recommend my enlisted guys to get the same PST scores as the officers because they typically do better than the enlisted guys. Officer attrition rates very low. Enlisted attrition rate is very high, mainly because they let too many 18-year-olds go to buds, and the attrition rate is littered with teenagers. You're a different person at 18 than you are 22. I promise you that. Makes a big difference. But would you recommend for someone wanting a shot at OCS and a bud spot? All the same. I recommend this. I have one standard. I don't care if you're officer or enlisted. I have one standard. And this is really a standard that is statistically helpful to get through buds. You need to be able to do 20 plus pull-ups. You need to be somewhere in the 80 to 100 push-ups and sit-ups. And you need to be in the sub 9 run, 1.5 miles. And you need to be at the 8:30 range for the 500-yard swim. But there's so many other points of assessment that you need to also do. You can't just rely on PST scores. So that's why I came up with this assessment tool. Jeff Nichols and I did a podcast on it, as well as I wrote the article and this chart. Check out this article I just put in there. It's really good. It's a lot more than just PST scores because it's 4-mile timed runs, it's swimming with fins, it's rucking, it's lifting, just so much more, treading, so much more stuff. Good morning, Stu. What do you recommend for shoulder mobility to get a better streamline? I actually just try to get in those positions, right? So what you need to do is be able to put one hand on top of the other, lock out. Like a lot of people can't lock out their arms over, so it might not even be shoulders. It might be biceps are too tight, so you got to loosen up your biceps and forearms. But you got to be able to lock out, those biceps on your ears and be able to do this. Otherwise, you're not looking like a torpedo. I see a lot of guys actually glide like this with their head up and their arms like this, like they're flying like Superman. Where, tell me, what do you think is more streamlined, this or this? Right? So streamline has a lot to do with head position, but yes, it has a little bit to do with shoulder mobility. Probably if you're unable to do that, your traps may be too big or your shoulders just aren't mobile and you need to stretch them out. Hang from pull-up bars, stretch your chest. There you go. Let's see. Have I ever gotten to hang out with David Goggins? Nope, I've never met him. I would like to. I think he's an inspirational soul for sure and is helping out a lot of people. So there you go. Sir, for substitution of swimming with biking, do you have a ration? a ratio. I read on Google that 1 mile of swimming will be 3 miles of biking, so 1 to 3. You know what? So you don't need to do the math, just do for time. So if you're swimming for 20 minutes, bike for 20 minutes. If it takes you 20 minutes to do a 15 or say 1,000 meter workout, and that's all it is, go for a bike for 20 minutes. Easy day, 1 to 1. Let's see here. Hey, one more question and then we'll go with a video. Hey, Stu, in your running program to get to and through selection, are the last few weeks with the PST every week supposed to see improvement on scores every week? Or is it in the program to get you used to taking a PST as the other day of your training? Yeah, I mean, part of it is practicing the PST, because the more you practice it, the more you're going to be able to create strategies around how you pace yourself, how you fuel yourself. Because for most people, that run is worse because it's at the end of a swim and pull-up, push-up, sit-ups, and now you're all pumped up in the upper body and you're about to go run, and that run is typically worse because you got to transition all this blood out of your upper body down to your legs. That's what that 10 minutes is for, kind of loosen up your upper body to get the blood down to your legs, and then you transition into the run. My recommendation is to, yes, practice it in that order, because you need to get used to running pumped up or previously pumped up. So check out this PST clinic where I talk about the running transition. Okay, there's a PST transition that takes place after the pull-ups and before the run, and you can really see some normal running paces by doing that. And then, depending on when you need your carbs and fuel, you can be sipping on some type of carbohydrate, not caffeine. Caffeine is going to jack you up. So yeah, it's a fueling issue and a pace issue for most people on that run. So you need to practice it. Is there a minimum time of running per session to have an endurance conditioning benefit? That's going to depend on what you're running for. Are you running for 1.5 miles? Are you running for 4 miles? Are you running for 10 miles? Are you running for a marathon? I think it's all relative to what you're trying to run for. So, I would say typically 20 minutes would be probably the minimum, but in this business, the minimums aren't your best answer. All right, one more, then we'll go. Hey, Chris, Stu, last question before I go in for work. How do I kick from my hips when I swim? Every time I try to do a flutter kick in the water, I feel like I'm breaching the water and slowing down. Well, you should be on your side when you kick, right? If you're on your belly and you're kicking, those kicks are going to come out of the water. I don't know. Best way for you to get feedback from me on how to swim is send me a video of you swimming. Otherwise, I'm just guessing and giving you some generalities of swimming. So let's do this. Let's pull up a swim video and see what we got here. So I'm going to share my screen. Window, boom. Let me know you guys can see this. Looks like you can. So when he kicks off the wall, he does a little dolphin kick. And notice this. See where he's on his belly there? I don't like doing this. Like, remember me talking about kicking? And see how his feet are coming out of the water? Or his feet are so small, like those little flutter kicks aren't really helping. Now he rotates on his side, and we're focused on him just being able to kick big scissor kicks And really, the only time he uses his arm is when he needs to come up to breathe. So if you notice, it's yeah, it's always awkward kicking off the wall with these big clunky fins. But this time he does it better. He's not on his belly. Changing sides every length, it looks like, as well. So he could probably be a little more streamlined with his arm going forward on the recovery. But he's got some pretty good power on his legs, and that was a 45-second 50. So this is really good. This, if he can maintain this pace, he's going to be at a 15-minute, maybe 16-minute 1,000. And if you stretch that out over 4,000, which is a 2 nautical mile swim, he's going to be in the 60s, which is really good because you have 85 minutes to do first phase, to do a 2-mile swim in the ocean. You have 80 minutes second phase, and you have 75 minutes third phase. Now, this is just a little turtleback drill I like to do just to work the legs. This is also after a leg day where we lifted and did a lot of squats and lunges and things like that. So 75 hard, 25 turtleback. It's a fun little workout, especially if you got big old fins and you're trying to get your ankles in shape for using them. Okay, hope that was beneficial. Let's see. Let's do another one. Had another guy send me a video. I think this might be it. Let's see. No, I filmed this guy. So we're going to kick off the wall. Good streamline off the wall. Double arm pull. Transitions into the stroke. This is good. Let's see. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Those little flutter kicks, they don't need to be there. Let me see where he's gliding here. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Yeah, he's good. He's pulling on 3. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Got a high elbow. Probably doesn't need that high elbow coming out. You can keep that elbow in the water. I would definitely classify that as a sharking elbow. So keep that elbow in the water. After you pull it, no need to put it up that high. It's a good pull out, though. Gets halfway across the pool on this one. So yeah, I don't like the extra flutter kicks going on. Let's see. Looks like he's rolling over also in the middle of his kick. So that's why he has those little flutter kicks popping up water like that. So my advice is kick and then use the glide for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Use that glide to roll over on your belly. Don't just immediately flip over on your belly in the middle of your kick, and that reduces the power of your kick significantly. Let's see. Where are you guys at? You got some more questions? I don't see any questions. Let's do this one. This was a decent one. I wanted to show you when it is not okay to do a dolphin kick. A lot of people ask this question. Should I add a dolphin kick to my swim? Well, watch this. Okay, you see that? That is a very stiff dolphin kick. I don't recommend doing the dolphin if that is your dolphin kick. It's just not powerful enough to really add it to be helpful. And probably need to stretch out your back a little bit because this does come from your core and your hips and it whips down. That was kind of an awkward kick too. See this kick out of the, I don't know what that was. So you can do a big scissor kick here or an actual breaststroke kick when you transition out of the pull off the wall. So top arm, bottom arm. Let's see. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, you're doing really quick glides. It could be a little shorter on the glide, but I think the reason why you're doing that is your kick's a little weak. So let's see if you can actually glide for 3 Mississippis. See that bottom arm too? It's a little bit awkward. It's not horrible, but it just looks like it's not really doing that much, and it shouldn't do a whole lot. But I think it's just getting out in the slipstream. Like after you pull it and then you recover it, I don't think it's helping you with your streamline glide very well. It just looks like it's going about halfway and then stopping. This is just some minor stuff, though. I mean, overall, it's not bad. I mean, you did. Let's see what this is here. Let me see where you are on your 50. Huh. Is this a 25-yard pool? Or it can't be a 25-yard pool unless you're really fast, because that's 20 seconds. Interesting. Yeah, it's a 41-second 50 if this is a 50-meter pool or 50-yard pool. Just a couple things that, I would say take out the dolphin kick and work on that bottom arm to be more of a bottom arm skull, right? And it should kind of come down and come in tight with your top arm. So your top arm is going to freestyle. Your bottom arm is going to come down and then recover in tightly with you. It looked like you're just kind of going out like this with that bottom arm, and it's not very close to your body. And it's kind of like swimming with the brakes on. But if that's a 25-yard pool, that's a really fast 50, which puts you in the sub 7 range, which, I'll be honest with you, it didn't look like it was sub 7. I could be wrong. Let's see. Evan says, I'm struggling with overhead squats in preparation for boats. My mobility needs to work as my hands can't stay behind my head at the bottom of the squat. Any exercises or stretches you'd recommend? Yeah, try some TRX squats, where you get the arms out in front of you, you do a big deep squat, stretch you out a little bit, and then eventually, try to work out, by doing a little row with it. So when you do the squat, and then when you come up, you get back here and you get this big row. With the TRX, I found that to be very helpful for shoulders. But just go really light with weight, maybe the bar or even a PVC pipe, and just keep that thing over your head like this, or build up to a sandbag. You may find that the wider you get, it might be a little easier. And then if you widen the stance of your legs, may also be a little bit easier, when you go down in that overhead squat position. But it is likely a thoracic and rear delt tightness. So work on twisting motions. If you watch some of my, look at some of my posts I do on Mobility Day, you see I do a lot of big lunging with a big twist. Twist as much of your back as you can to help you with some of that just thoracic flexibility and mobility. And then, work those rear delts by getting yourself out there, stretching it out, and then working on good streamlined body position for swimming. Those should all come together and help you with overhead squats. But the good news is, you're only going to be doing squats with a boat for 4 weeks out of 26. So, it's a tough event, but it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be able to get down there with your hands over your head and just suck it up for a little bit. Yes, having some extra mobility is smart. Stretch out real well before the log PT or the boat PT, and try to stay ahead of the tightness. Morning, Stu, older guy trying to prepare for OCS SOAS selection in my 30s. Whew. Does being a prior service Marine grunt make any difference in comparison with my counterparts? Yeah, that's going to be helpful. I think personally they will offer age waivers for people with some prior military experience from other services as well. So yeah, I think so. I think any experience is going to be different. I mean, your life experience alone is going to be different from a 22-year-old right out of college, right? You're going to be more mature. You're going to have other answers. Now, the only thing that's going to be different is that kid is probably going to be able to recover from day-to-day events a little bit faster than you, though 30s is not old. I put it this way. I wish I was in my 30s. Because I noticed the difference between 30 and 50. But I also remember the difference between 20 and 30. Subtle, but not quite as the gap of 30 to 50 is. But yeah, completely doable. I think you'll be a great asset to them, especially just with the daily administration of running the class. Having some prior military experience in there is going to be very helpful. All right, let me show you this last one because I'll be honest with you, this is my favorite. And I know it sounds corny, but it's me swimming. So a lot of times I'll say, hey, just film me and then save the video and you can compare it to what you are doing yourself. So check out this one. This is me kicking off the wall, throw a little dolphin kick. Notice that little dolphin kick. It's a subtle dolphin kick, but it's not really stiff. I'm just whip kicking my knees a little bit and it doesn't really slow me down any. Do I need it? No, I don't think I need it. So top arm, bottom arm, kick, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. There you go. Good turnaround. That's called an open turn for the CSS. Keep things tight. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Notice when I pull that top arm, my face is already out of the water. All right. So I am now ready to inhale during the bottom arm pull. And not a lot of my face is out of the water. You see that? Like my nose is still getting wet whenever I take that inhale. All right. Where a lot of people screw up is they pop that head up way too much. So that's a 46-second 50. Not bad. You see where I left off. Probably 45-second 50 because it took me about a second to kick off. It's like a 7:30 pace right there, and it doesn't look like it. It's nice and easy. That's where you want to go with your CSS. You want it to be a conservation of energy stroke, but still fast. And you'll have a lot more energy for the rest of the PST if you can do this efficiently and usually get 5 strokes to get across the pool, maybe 6 max. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Boom, right on time. Nice. Thought I'd share that one. That one's up on TikTok, by the way, right as one of the pinned videos. So you can compare it at any time you want. Let's see. Any other questions? You guys are looking pretty good. Hey, since you guys are still listening, I'm going to give you a gift today. And it is only for people who are showing up live and liking this video too. You got to like it. Live 20. If you go to StuSmithFitness.com, you'll save 20 books or 20% on books and ebooks. Live 20 is the coupon code. And I'm only sharing it on live shows. So if I see this live pop out as a coupon code, I'll know that you were listening. So check that out. If for some reason I didn't get to your questions, you can email me, Stu at StuSmith, those questions? There were some questions yesterday that I wanted to answer, but I had to go. In fact, you know what I'm gonna pull up the old questions here because I know I missed some at the last part of this. And since I don't see any questions here, looks like, okay, looks like you guys came back with some questions here while I was giving that little spiel. I'm curious about short sleep periods during Hellweek. What would you recommend sleeping for the short period or possibly during mobility, doing mobility to avoid stiffness and that horrible wake up? You know what? All wake ups are horrible. You will be stiff. There's no getting around it. I do recommend not taking off your boots because as soon as you take off your boots, it's just going to not be pretty. Your feet are going to start swelling and it's just tough. So if you're going to take off your boots, take them off fast, keep them elevated and put on dry boots, but just realize those boots aren't going to be dry for very long. What's the slowest pace you'd still consider running? I mean, today I was running so slow, I was basically walking. No, just teasing. I'd say you could still run a 10-minute mile. I mean, that's pretty slow. It's hard to walk a 10-minute mile. Don't think I've ever seen it unless you're like Olympic power walker. But you know, I personally don't think a lot of slow running is very useful. But some people like it. Some people like to run slow and long. If that's what floats your boat, do it. Good. I personally like to probably limit my runs to about 5 or 6 miles, but throughout that, there are multiple moments of sprinting a hill or doing a half-mile interval, mixing in squats and lunges, things like that. So I tend to mix in some other activities, mainly just because I get bored just running. So slow distance running for me is just boring. So I maybe it's a mental thing for me, but it's something I don't enjoy. How does your freestyle time compare to your CSS times? My freestyle is faster. It used to not be the case, but after 20 years of not really doing a lot of CSS other than maybe some 50/50s, my freestyle is faster. So I can do like 730s pretty easy with freestyle. And the last 500 I took all CSS was just at 8 minutes. So probably about 30 seconds faster. I have done a lot faster in previous decades. I think my fastest freestyle is probably in the low 7s, 715, 720, but I've actually hit a 640 on a CSS in my 20s, post buds, not pre buds. Sir, could you add GPay to payment methods? I thought I did. Go to Stu Smith Fitness. I thought Google Pay was on there. I will try. I know I had the opportunity to do it. In fact, let me see. Let's go on to my store and just see all the methods of payment. There may be something I have to do to get that done. But as of right now, I thought it was, but I can figure that out. Let's see. I asked about the slow because I feel guilty that near the end of the run, I can't maintain a fast pace, but don't want to stop running too soon. That's fine. Eventually you'll get better at running faster. A couple of the questions that were yesterday that I missed. Without overdoing exercise, what is the minimum maximum reps of pull-ups, push-ups, air squats per day? Actually, I think I answered that one. I don't recommend daily anything. Let's see here. Ran 3 miles in 20 minutes, and I rucked 10 miles on Saturday. Today, I couldn't hold a sub-7 running pace. Is that normal? Yeah, I'd say your legs are just tired from rucking on Saturday. And Monday being maybe just one day rest. Definitely normal. So legs are just tired. You just got to get in better leg condition, or spend Saturday and Sunday doing some leg mobility work like swimming or treading, and then stretching, foam rolling, stuff like that. That may help you get over the 10 miles of rucking a little faster, or make your legs feel better anyway. What's the best way to ask for? Oh, I did this one. I can't pull up anymore. Yeah, it looks like maybe I did answer them all. I don't know. All right, another question. I don't have any more videos to share, so we're just asking questions now. So if you got questions, send them. Hey, Stu, any beginner hip mobility stretches I can't get in your frog position? Try the frog position laying horizontal. So if you notice, there's 3 progressions to it. You do the first frog position in with your torso horizontal, then you do it diagonal, and then you do it vertical. I mean, that vertical is really hard. So start off horizontal, work your way around that. But my advice is, go to some beginner yoga videos on YouTube and pull up some of those. I find the yoga stretches that look like a lunge, a deep lunge, maybe a warrior pose. I don't even know what they're called because I don't really follow a lot of yoga. But you just take a big stride, you twist to the left, twist to the right. That's going to be a really good one. Try to drop your shoulder down to your knee, in that lunge position. There's just so many to do. In fact, if you follow the my mobility day that I did on YouTube, if you Google mobility day walkthrough, here it is, Stu Smith Live, mobility day walkthrough. So I did a mobility day walkthrough. Check out this video I'm posting into the comment section. It is a mobility day walkthrough. That may help you a little bit with some of the things I do. I do some hips, but I also do feet, knees, ankles, mix it all up. Any recommendations for scissor kick? Yes. Make it look like a pair of scissors. I feel like I just can't get a good boost from it, and I have a great amount of leg mass and strength. So I have an article called Fix Your Kick. You should read this and try the drill that I put into that article, because that will help you tremendously with fixing your kick. So try that out. I just posted an article in the comment section. Would you rather cover the mileage first before adding speed, or use the right speed and start and add mileage? You know what? There's 2 schools of thought out there. A lot of people who are runners and maybe have a running build like to add the mileage first and build that aerobic base with long, slow distance runs. Then they start adding speed. Nothing wrong with that. That way works. It is definitely great for runners. However, I see a lot of people that are not runners, that may be swimmers, maybe powerlifting football players that are 260 pounds, and getting them to run a 10-mile run at a 10-minute pace is just saying, hey, why don't you just give me shin splints and knee tendonitis for my next run, because that's what's going to happen. There are some builds that just are not ready for that kind of mileage. So what I do is I introduce more non-impact cardio to build that aerobic base and then focus on higher speed goal pace running when they run. So when they run, they're not running many miles, they're running many miles with a purpose for hitting that 6-minute mile pace or 7-minute mile pace or whatever it is. Then over time, you slowly start taking away the non-impact cardio and adding more running as they, one, get a little more durable with running and they lose some weight and they're not experiencing the typical overuse injuries that non-runners tend to get when they start running. You know, something that's funny, it's, you know, we're probably a couple of months away from spring and it never fails. Once the weather starts breaking around the country, 3 weeks later, everybody asks about shin splints because they probably started running too quickly, too much, too soon, and it's hurting them. So there you go. That's a good question and a thorough answer for the type of running I recommend. And the answer truly is it depends. Is there a specific VO2 max that's good baseline for SOAS? I'm currently 53 VO2 max and my mile and a half is 840. That's great. I think that's fine. You know, be honest with you, I never took a VO2 max prior to going to Buds. No idea. I was just shooting for performance. You know, running an 845 mile and a half was great. Running a 27-minute 4 mile, great too. So I tend to dwell on performance versus the VO2 max. You know, they don't care what your VO2 max is. They care what your mile and a half is and your 4 mile timed run is. I've been following your to and through running program for the past 6 weeks. Good. And it's helped me a lot along with all the TFRs you have. I appreciate all the info you put out. That's a fun one, man. I like that running program. It works really well to the point of where I'm thinking of like implementing that exact running program with a progression into more of my programming. So when I might even do updates to some of my programs and implement that running program where you do hills and sprints and goal pace and you do long slow distance and you do goal pace, and you know, so it's a mix. You do track workouts. It's a mix of multiple ways to run that works everything. That works a 6-minute mile pace, works a 7-minute mile pace, because you need both wherever you're going. So good. All right, folks. Any other questions? I got time for 1 or 2 more. If you got them, send them. In the meantime, check out this. You know, if I missed your question or you come up with a question while, you know, the show is not on, just send it to me, stu@stusmith.com. Also, check out StuSmithFitness.com. Use Live20 and save 20% on books and ebooks. You know, books and ebooks like this. Spring training's coming up next. Gotta love spring. I'm looking forward to it, though we still got February to get through, which I think this week's going to suck. I think we got some teens here in Maryland for our outdoor workouts. But we'll get through it. We'll make it happen. Only makes you tougher. All right, folks. So I got to go. I appreciate you listening. Thanks for listening. Give me a like if you got it down there. Hit that like button. And if you need some more help with specifics, I got them. Or you can just ask. Stu@StuSmith.com. Send me a video. Happy to critique it as well. All right, folks. I will see you next week. Have a good one.